It's something we all do. You grab the remote, turn on your streaming device, click play, and you expect everything to work instantly, perfectly. But there's just so much complex stuff happening behind the scenes to make that seamless experience possible. Today, we're actually going to pull back that curtain a little bit. We're looking at a really critical, though quiet, update, Roku OS 14.6. And just to be clear, our mission here isn't really about, big flashy changes to the menus you see. This deep dive is all about exploring those crucial kind of under-the-hood advancements, the stuff that powers your streaming, makes it better, more secure. We've based this on reports from places like Cord Cutters News and also the detailed developer notes straight from Roku itself.
That's exactly right. Yeah, for most people watching Roku at home, you won't see anything different with 14.6. No new look, no new buttons. But these technical developer-focused updates, they're really fundamental, foundational for the whole Roku ecosystem. They're building a stronger base. And timeline-wise, this went out to developers first under NDA back around May 6, 2025. Then it started hitting actual Roku devices sometime around June 18th.
Okay, so let's start right there with that whole invisible update idea. Cord Cutters News made a point of this, and the Roku dev notes confirm it. No user interface changes. It's all back-end stuff.
Exactly, and that's why it's worth digging into, even if you can't see it. These updates, they matter. They directly affect how smoothly your apps run, how stable things are. Plus, they lay the groundwork for future capabilities, things that will eventually benefit you, the user. It's kind of like upgrading the engine in your car. Looks the same outside, but the drive is just, better, more reliable.
Okay, so let's unpack a really key piece of this then. It involves BrightScript. That's the language developers use for Roku apps, right? There's this new flag, a little setting, for a function called parseJSON. Why is handling numbers in code like this so significant? What's the big deal?
Right, so parseJSON, it's a core function for handling data. This update adds a new flag, just a simple D. And what this D flag does is it changes how the function deals with floating point numbers, numbers with decimals, like 12.345. It tells the system to parse them using double precision values. Technical term is row double. Basically, it means much higher accuracy for those decimal numbers.
Higher accuracy. Okay,
Yeah.
But where does that actually make a difference for me watching TV?
Well, it's particularly important when developers are dealing with data, specifically JSON data, coming from server-side ad insertion providers, SSAI. See, these SAI systems often use very precise floating point numbers to mark exactly when an ad should start or end in the stream, like down to fractions of a second before, maybe a time like 12.345 seconds might get rounded slightly in the parsing process, tiny, tiny amounts. But that tiny rounding could sometimes cause a little skip or maybe cut off the very first fraction of a second of ad audio, just not quite seamless.
I see. So those almost unnoticeable little stutters or hiccups around ad breaks.
Exactly. This increased precision using row double helps eliminate those microscopic imperfections. It makes the ad insertion much smoother, truly indistinguishable from the main show. It's a small thing, technically, but it really adds up to more polished feel for you.
That makes sense. It's one of those subtle background improvements that just makes things work better.
Okay.
Let's shift gears a bit. Content security. There's something in the update notes about Widevine license wrapping. Now, for people who aren't deep in the tech weeds, what is Widevine and how does this wrapping thing affect, getting shows securely to my Roku?
Sure. So Widevine is basically Google's technology for digital rights management, DRM. Think of it as the digital lock on movies and TV shows that providers use to prevent piracy. It's super common. This update improves how Roku handles the key for that lock. There's a specific setting area, contentnode.drm params, where developers configure how the Roku device asks for the license, the key, to unlock the content. And this update adds 4 new parameters there.
4 new parameters. Okay, what do they let developers do?
They essentially allow the developer to wrap the request for the Widevine license key in the specific format that their particular license server needs. Some servers expect the request formatted as JSON. Others might need XML. It varies. Before, there might have been compatibility issues if a Roku app couldn't format the request exactly right for a specific provider server. Now, Roku is providing more tools to format that request correctly. It's like giving the app a better translator.
So it's making Roku devices better at talking to all the different security systems out there.
Pretty much, yeah. It increases compatibility and flexibility. For you, the user, this means fewer annoying situations where maybe a new streaming service or even just a specific movie won't play because of some back-end DRM negotiation issue. It should lead to quicker access to content and just generally smoother playback, especially with diverse content sources.
Right. More robust security handling behind the scenes. That definitely sounds like a good thing. Okay, so we've covered precision in playback, better security handling. But these updates also seem to make life easier for the developers actually building the apps, right? What's new for them?
Oh, definitely. This update brings some really helpful improvements to their tools. First up is the Roku Resource Monitor, RRM 4.1. They've improved how it handles scrolling and dealing with really large data files from testing sessions, which is practical. But more importantly, it gives developers much better visibility into memory usage. They can now see memory summaries for different parts of the app's visual structure, the scenograph nodes, and they can also see exactly how many objects are being created and how much memory each part of the code, each thread, is using.
So if an app keeps freezing or crashing, this helps them pinpoint why, like a memory leak or something.
Precisely. We've all had apps freeze up, right? Often, it is a memory issue. These new details in RM 4.1 act like a powerful diagnostic tool for the app's memory. It helps developers find and fix those problems much faster before the app even gets released to you.
Okay, better memory diagnostics. What else?
Then there's something called cross-component backtrace. This is available in their debugging tools. This one's a bit technical, but it's a huge deal for fixing complex bugs. Imagine an app where different parts have to talk to each other constantly, like your channel list talks to the video player, which talks to the subtitle system. If something breaks during one of those interactions, it can be really hard to trace the problem back through all the different components involved.
Okay, like following a chain reaction.
Exactly. Before, the debugging tools might only show you the very last step where the error occurred. Now, with cross-component backtrace, developers can see the entire chain of calls across different parts of the app, even when functions call each other indirectly, like through observer callbacks or call func. If component A calls component B and B breaks, they can now see the steps in both A and B leading up to the break.
Ah, so it gives them the full picture of the interaction.
Right. It dramatically simplifies debugging those tricky interconnected bugs. It means faster, more accurate fixes, less weird glitches for you down the line. And alongside that, some existing debug commands like backtrace, up, down, things developers use to step through code, now work better with these complex cross-component call situations too. The step command is also improved. It all adds up to making the whole debugging process more efficient.
That sounds like a major quality of life improvement for developers,
Yeah.
which should definitely translate into more stable apps for us. Good stuff. Now, one more area mentioned was deprecations. That usually means something's being phased out, right? What's getting retired here, and why should we care?
Yeah, deprecation is about looking ahead, usually towards better or more secure technologies. In Roku OS 14.6, the main thing being marked as obsolete is the Blowfish cipher, specifically the variant starting with BIF. These are older encryption algorithms. They're listed in a document called RoEVP cipher, which is kind of Roku's guide to supported encryption methods. Marking them obsolete is basically a heads up to developers.
A heads up that Roku might remove support for them entirely in the future.
Exactly. Support may be removed in a future OS release. This signals Roku is moving towards phasing out older, potentially less secure encryption methods in favor of more modern, robust standards. It's like retiring an old type of lock in favor of newer, stronger ones. It's good security housekeeping, really. Keeps the platform up to date with best practices and helps protect your data and the content.
Got it. Proactive security improvements, even if it means retiring older tech. Makes sense. So wrapping this all up then, Roku OS 14.6, it might not have those flashy new features you immediately notice when you turn on your TV, but what we've discussed today, the improved precision, the enhanced security handling, the better developer tools, these are really crucial kind of invisible upgrades. They empower the people building the apps to make them more stable, more efficient, maybe even more sophisticated down the road. And ultimately, all these behind-the-scenes tweaks add up to a better, smoother, more secure experience for you.
Absolutely. That's the key takeaway. These seemingly small developer-centric changes are about the long game. It's this constant refinement, this quiet work under the hood that keeps the whole streaming ecosystem reliable, secure, and ready for whatever comes next and ensures things just, work.
So maybe next time you're kicking back, enjoying a show, and everything is running perfectly smoothly, no glitches, no weird pauses. Take a second to think about all those unseen layers of code and technology, like the stuff in OS 14.6, making it all happen. And maybe wonder, What other invisible updates are happening in the tech you use every day, quietly making your digital life just that little bit better?